Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Russian ebook before it's gone.
Welcome to RussianPod101.com's Русский язык за 3 минуты. The fastest, easiest and the most fun way to learn Russian. Привет, меня зовут Светлана. Очень приятно. Hi, I'm Svetlana. Nice to meet you. In this series, we're going to learn basic Russian expressions. It's super easy and it takes only 3 minutes. In this lesson, you are going to learn how to introduce yourself in Russian. There are a few ways to do so, depending on how formal you want to be. Let's first take a look at an informal way to introduce yourself in Russian. It's very short and simple. Привет, меня зовут Светлана. Очень приятно. Hi, I'm Svetlana. Nice to meet you. Привет, меня зовут Светлана. Очень приятно. Start with the greeting «Привет». Then you introduce yourself by saying «Меня зовут» and then your name «Меня зовут Светлана». Finally say «Nice to meet you». The simplified and very casual phrase for it is «Очень приятно». The whole phrase will be «Привет, меня зовут Светлана. Очень приятно». Now let's take a look at more formal version for greeting and self-introduction. It's a bit longer than the previous one. You ready? Here we go. Здравствуйте, меня зовут Светлана. Приятно познакомиться. Hello, my name is Svetlana. It's a pleasure to meet you. Здравствуйте, меня зовут Светлана. Приятно познакомиться. What has changed from the previous introduction? Let's take a closer look at these together. First, we changed the greeting word «привет» to «здравствуйте». It's very formal and official greeting which can be used any time of the day, morning, afternoon, evening, or even at night. Luckily, the phrase you use to introduce your name stays the same. Меня зовут Светлана. Next, after giving your name, you say «приятно познакомиться». It's more formal, but can be used in informal greeting as well. It literally means it's a pleasure to meet you. Once more, the formal way to introduce yourself is «Здравствуйте, меня зовут Светлана. Приятно познакомиться». In the sentence «Меня зовут Светлана», «меня» is myself, and «зовут» is to be called. So the literal translation is I'm called Svetlana. Unlike English, where I would say, my name is Svetlana, in Russian we basically say, somebody calls me Svetlana. Interesting, huh? Now it's time for Svetlana's tips. It's common to shake hands both when you greet somebody and leave them in Russia. Handshaking is more common for men, but women also practice it a lot lately. And don't forget direct eye contact. It's very important in Russia. Good friends usually give hugs and kiss each other on the cheeks 3 times. Okay, that's it for this lesson. Do you know how to say thank you in Russian? You'll learn how to say this and many other words in next lesson. Пока-пока! До скорых встреч! See you soon! Привет всем! С вами Светлана. Hi everybody, I'm Svetlana. Welcome to RussianPod101.com's Русский язык за 3 минуты. The fastest, easiest and the most fun way to learn Russian. In the last lesson, we learned how to introduce ourselves in Russian. Today we are going to learn how to use good manners as we thank people. Готовы? Are you ready? Поехали! Then let's start. There are several ways to thank people. Let's start with the most common phrase «спасибо». Спасибо. Спасибо means thank you. To say thank you very much, you just need to add большое. Большое спасибо. Большое спасибо. Большое means big. In context, большое спасибо literally means big thanks. So when someone thanks you, how should you answer? There are several ways to respond to this phrase. One which is fairly close in translation to the English phrase "you're welcome" is "пожалуйста." It's very common in Russia, but we also use another phrase quite often, "не за что," which means not at all. The word "пожалуйста" means something like please in English. Пожалуйста. In English, it sounds a little bit strange to say please when somebody thanks you, right? But by using this word, you're indicating that you are pleased to be helpful. Не за что means more or less the same thing as пожалуйста, but offers a little more courtesy. Say не за что. Не за что. One which is fairly close in translation to the English phrase "you're welcome" is пожалуйста. It's very common in Russia, but we also use another phrase quite often, не за что, which means not at all. Now it's time for Svetlana's tips. When saying thank you in Russia, body language is very important. Спасибо is the universal word and can be used in both formal and informal cases. You can make it sound more formal just by changing your intonation, like this. Спасибо. Friends usually act more openly and even slap each other on the shoulder. In any case, it's very important that your thanks be accompanied with smile and again, direct eye contact. Спасибо. Good job! That's it for this lesson. By the way, do you know what "до свидания" means? In our next lesson, you'll learn these and other greetings in Russian. Всем спасибо. Пока-пока. Привет всем! С вами Светлана. Hi everybody, I'm Svetlana. Welcome to RussianPod101.com's Русский язык за 3 минуты. The fastest, easiest, and the most fun way to learn Russian. In the last lesson, we learned how to express gratitude with спасибо. In this lesson, we'll learn some of the most common greetings you'll use in Russian. Готовы? Are you ready? Поехали! Let's start. The most used informal greeting is Привет. Привет. Привет means hi or hello. We use this greeting when we meet friends, cousins, or close relatives. Please keep in mind that it's a very informal greeting. If you're not close to someone or he or she is older than you, you should not use this word. Here's a more formal way to greet people. Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте. This is a very formal greeting that can be used any time of the day. As a variation, здравствуй can also be used. This is still a little casual, but much more formal than привет. Здравствуйте is actually a variation of здраво желаю, meaning I wish you health. So здравствуйте literally means I wish you to be healthy.
Здравствуй.
Russian also has equivalents to the English good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. They are доброе утро, добрый день, добрый вечер. They are similar to здравствуйте in politeness and formality. However, remember to use them at the proper time depending on whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. Доброе утро, which means good morning, is usually used before 12 p.m. Доброе утро. The word добрый means kind. Russians don't say good morning, they say kind morning. The word утро means morning. So literally this phrase means kind morning to you. Very sweet. Добрый день can either mean good afternoon or good day. Since the word здравствуйте can be used at any time of the day, we will hear it more than добрый день. But it's still a phrase you should learn. Добрый день. The final greeting is добрый вечер, and we usually use it after 6 p.m. The word вечер literally means evening. Kind evening to you. Добрый вечер. Very easy, right? The usual way to say goodbye in almost any situation is «До свидания», which literally means till the next meeting. До свидания. If you're on casual terms with somebody, you may also use «пока», which means bye or see you later. Пока. The phrase you use when leaving someone in the evening or just before bed is «спокойной ночи». This phrase works both for formal and informal situations. Спокойной ночи. You can now greet people in many different ways in Russia. Congratulations! Now it's time for Svetlana's tips. As I mentioned in our first lesson, Russians commonly greet each other by shaking hands or slightly nodding the head. What I want to add to this is that Russians are very superstitious people, so we never shake hands over the threshold between rooms. It's considered to be unlucky, so always go into the room first before shaking hands. Women usually kiss each other on the cheek 3 times, starting with the left cheek. Men hug and pat each other's backs. In the next lesson, we'll learn the meaning of the phrase «Извините, вы говорите по-английски?» Do you already know it? I'll be waiting to tell you about it in our next «Русский язык за 3 минуты» lesson. Пока-пока. See you! Привет всем! С вами Светлана. Hi everybody, I'm Svetlana. Welcome to RussianPod101.coms. Русский язык за 3 минуты. The fastest, easiest, and the most fun way to learn Russian. In the last lesson, we learned the most common forms of greetings in Russian. Do you remember them? In this lesson, we are going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? If you find yourself in a situation when you need assistance in English, this phrase can be a lifesaver. And because you're asking it in Russian, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you are saying, even if the answer is no. Here's the informal way to say it. Ты говоришь по-английски? Ты говоришь по-английски? In Russian, verbs change depending on the pronoun that is used. The pronoun ты is the singular you in English. It is a very informal way to address people. Don't use it with complete strangers, especially if the person is older than you. I don't recommend that you use it during formal gatherings either, such as business meetings, conferences, and so on. The verb говоришь means speak in English. As I already mentioned, verbs usually change in Russian, according to the pronoun and time. The original form for the verb говоришь is говорить. To learn how to properly conjugate Russian verbs like говорить, please take a look at our Absolute Beginner series on RussianPod101.com. You can find very detailed grammar lessons and resources there. To make this sentence a question, we don't need to change the word order or anything like that. All we need is to change our intonation. You speak English is Ты говоришь по-английски. But do you speak English is Ты говоришь по-английски? A more polite way to ask this question in Russian is to use the pronoun вы, which is translated in English as the plural you. Remember, as we change the pronoun, we also need to conjugate the verb to match it. Говорить is conjugated to говорите. So the whole phrase in Russian will be Вы говорите по-английски? Вы говорите по-английски? The phrase по-английски stays the same. And you probably have already understood the meaning, right? It means in English. Very easy. By adding извините, excuse me, you make the sentence even more polite. Извините, вы говорите по-английски? Извините, вы говорите по-английски? The responses you might receive could be one of these 3. Да, yes. Да. Немного, a little. Немного. Нет, No. Нет. The full version for the negative sentence will be Нет, я не говорю по-английски. Since this is a negation, we need to add the particle не before the verb говорю. Notice also that the verb говорите changed. It changed to говорю because we used the pronoun I here. Я in Russian. Thus the phrase I do not speak English is Я не говорю по-английски. Now it's time for Svetlana's tips. For those of you who are not native English speakers, don't worry. You can of course use this question with any language you need. Many other European and Asian languages are also popular in Russia. So maybe you will get lucky. Just substitute по-английски with по-немецки for German, по-испански for Spanish, по-китайски for Chinese, по-японски for Japanese. Great! In this lesson we mentioned the expression извините. But did you know that this can also be used as an apology? In the next lesson we'll learn this and other ways to apologize in Russian. It's never too late to show your good manners towards Russian people. I'll see you in our next русский язык за 3 минуты lesson. Пока-пока! Привет всем! С вами Светлана. Hi everybody, I'm Svetlana. Welcome to RussianPod101.com. Русский язык за 3 минуты. The fastest, easiest, and the most fun way to learn Russian. In the last lesson we learned the phrase «Извините, вы говорите по-английски?» Excuse me, do you speak English? We mentioned the word «извините», which means excuse me in Russian. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to use извините and other words when apologizing in Russian. We usually use извините when we want to draw somebody's attention. Perhaps you want to order something in the restaurant or simply ask the time. For example, извините, который час? Excuse me, what time is it? The other meaning of извините is to say I'm sorry for something you've done or haven't done. The word извините derives from the word вина, which means guilt in English. You use it when you feel guilty for bothering somebody or causing some problem. The word извините is used in its formal polite form. The informal version for it is извини. It can also be used in 2 ways as mentioned, but is mostly used in the sense of regret and apology. Извини refers to the informal pronoun you in its singular form. In other words, you would use it when speaking to a person you would address with the pronoun ты. Another informal word for an apology is прости, which has almost the same meaning as извини, but with a slightly higher level of regret. It derives from the verb прощать, which means forgive. So literally this word is translated as forgive me. So the formal way to say forgive me in Russian would be простите or прошу прощения. The meaning of both phrases is almost the same. Простите is an imperative verb which literally means forgive me. Прошу прощения means I am asking you to forgive me. This phrase is a bit more polite than простите. As you might have guessed, the word прошу means I ask. You can add the word пожалуйста, please, to your apology to make it even more polite and sincere. Простите, пожалуйста. Извините, пожалуйста. Excuse me, please. Okay, great. Now it's time for Svetlana's tips. If you accidentally bump somebody, any of the phrases mentioned in this lesson would be fine for an apology. Just don't say nothing or ignore the other person because you might get a very angry reaction and be yelled at in front of everybody. Russians can be very short-tempered and emotional, but will not usually harbor resentment if you admit your mistake. It is always easier to say a simple word of apology straight away rather than try to cool an angry Russian down. Okay, that's it for this lesson. Can you count in Russian? In the next lesson, we'll learn the numbers from 1 to 10. I'll be waiting for you in our next «Русский язык за 3 минуты» lesson. Пока-пока!
Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Уже поздно, мне пора домой.
Я тебя провожу. Ночью в Москве опасно.
Да, но я живу далеко.
Ничего, мы возьмем такси.
Но это будет очень дорого.
Это не проблема. Пойдем.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Поздно.
Late.
Поздно. Поздно. Пора.
It's time to.
Пора. Пора. Дом.
House. Home.
Дом. Дом. Ночью.
At night.
Ночью. Ночью. Опасно.
Dangerous.
Опасно. Опасно. Ничего.
Nothing. It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
Ничего. Ничего. Взять такси.
To take a taxi.
Взять такси. Взять такси. Быть.
To be.
Быть. Быть. Дорого.
Expensive.
Дорого. Дорого. Проблема.
Problem.
Проблема. Проблема.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Уже поздно. Мне пора домой.
Я тебя провожу. Ночью в Москве опасно.
Да, но я живу далеко.
Ничего, мы возьмем такси.
Но это будет очень дорого.
Это не проблема. Пойдем.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Алло?
Алло, привет. Узнала?
Нет. Кто это?
Это я, Бен.
Ой, Бен, привет. Извини, я только что проснулась. Кстати, большое спасибо за вчера.
Тебе спасибо. Ты сегодня свободна?
Дай подумать. Я буду занята до обеда, а после обеда я свободна.
Отлично. Я заеду за тобой.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Узнать.
To recognize.
Узнать. Узнать.
And the next word?
Только что.
Just.
Только что. Только что.
And the next word is?
Кстати.
By the way.
Кстати. Кстати.
And the next word?
За.
Behind. In. For.
За. За.
And the next word is?
Сегодня.
Today.
Сегодня. Сегодня.
And the next word is?
Свободный.
Free. Available.
Свободный. Свободный.
And the next word is?
Дать.
To give.
Дать. Дать.
And the next word?
Занятый.
Busy. Occupied.
Занятый. Занятый.
And the next word?
До.
Before. Until.
До. До.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Алло?
Алло, привет. Узнала?
Нет. Кто это?
Это я, Бен.
Ой, Бен, привет. Извини, я только что проснулась. Кстати, большое спасибо за вчера.
Тебе спасибо. Ты сегодня свободна?
Дай подумать. Я буду занята до обеда, а после обеда я свободна.
Отлично. Я заеду за тобой.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Ты опять идешь гулять с Беном?
Да, а что?
Ничего. Что Бен делает в Москве?
Путешествует.
А сколько он уже в Москве?
Несколько дней.
А когда он уезжает?
Через несколько дней. Пап, не волнуйся, все будет хорошо.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Опять.
Again.
Опять. Опять. Гулять.
To go for a walk. To go out.
Гулять. Гулять. Делать.
To do. To make.
Делать. Делать. Путешествовать.
To travel.
Путешествовать. Путешествовать. Сколько?
How much? How many?
Сколько? Сколько? Несколько.
A few. Several.
Несколько. Несколько. День.
Day.
День. День. Когда?
When?
Когда? Когда? Через.
In. Through.
Через. Через. Все.
Everything.
Все. Все.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Ты опять идешь гулять с Беном?
Да. А что?
Ничего. Что Бен делает в Москве?
Путешествует.
А сколько он уже в Москве?
Несколько дней.
А когда он уезжает?
Через несколько дней. Пап, не волнуйся, все будет хорошо.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Бен, где ты был, кроме России?
Я много где был. В Европе и Азии. Я люблю путешествовать. А ты где была?
Я почти нигде не была. Но я очень хочу поехать в Латинскую Америку.
Понятно. Кстати, тебе нравится мексиканская кухня?
Очень. Я была в мексиканском ресторане на прошлой неделе.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Кроме.
Except. Besides.
Кроме. Кроме. Много где.
In a lot of places.
Много где. Много где. Европа.
Europe.
Европа. Европа. Почти.
Almost.
Почти. Почти. Нигде.
Nowhere.
Нигде. Нигде. Латинская Америка.
Latin America.
Латинская Америка. Латинская Америка. Мексиканский.
Mexican.
Мексиканский. Мексиканский. Кухня.
Kitchen. Cuisine.
Кухня. Кухня. Ресторан.
Restaurant.
Ресторан. Ресторан. На прошлой неделе.
Last week.
На прошлой неделе. На прошлой неделе.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Бен, где ты был, кроме России?
Я много где был. В Европе и Азии. Я люблю путешествовать. А ты где была?
Я почти нигде не была. Но я очень хочу поехать в Латинскую Америку.
Понятно. Кстати, тебе нравится мексиканская кухня?
Очень. Я была в мексиканском ресторане на прошлой неделе.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Катя и Дима собираются пойти в боулинг вечером. Пойдем с ними.
Хорошо. Но мне нужно вернуться домой не поздно сегодня.
Без проблем. У тебя дела вечером?
Нет, я собираюсь на компьютерную выставку завтра утром. Поэтому сегодня я хочу рано лечь спать.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Собираться.
To get ready to something. To be going to do something.
Собираться. Собираться. Вечером.
In the evening.
Вечером. Вечером. Нужно.
Necessary. Need. Should.
Нужно. Нужно. Вернуться.
To come back. To return.
Вернуться. Вернуться. Поздно.
Late.
Поздно. Поздно. Дела.
Things. Goings. Affairs.
Дела. Дела. Выставка.
Exhibition.
Выставка. Выставка. Поэтому.
That's why.
Поэтому. Поэтому. Лечь спать.
To go to bed.
Лечь спать. Лечь спать.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Катя и Дима собираются пойти в боулинг вечером. Пойдем с ними.
Хорошо. Но мне нужно вернуться домой не поздно сегодня.
Без проблем. У тебя дела вечером?
Нет, я собираюсь на компьютерную выставку завтра утром. Поэтому сегодня я хочу рано лечь спать.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson. Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary, followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Катя, у тебя новая прическа? Да, я вчера была в парикмахерской. Тебе очень идет. Я тоже хочу постричься и покраситься. В какой цвет? Я хочу сделать мелирование. Я могу посоветовать тебе хорошего мастера.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Новый.
New.
Прическа.
Hairstyle.
Парикмахерская.
Hairdressers. Barbers.
Постричься.
To get a haircut.
Идти.
To go.
Покраситься.
To dye one's hair.
Цвет.
Color.
Мелирование.
Highlights.
Мочь.
To be able to. Can.
Посоветовать.
To advise.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Катя, у тебя новая прическа? Да, я вчера была в парикмахерской. Тебе очень идет. Я тоже хочу постричься и покраситься. В какой цвет? Я хочу сделать мелирование. Я могу посоветовать тебе хорошего мастера.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Most people who learn a foreign language learn it so that they can one day have real-life conversations with native speakers. When you start out learning and crack open your first textbook or listen to your first podcast, having a real conversation can feel like a fantasy. When everything about a language feels new, it can be overwhelming. But this couldn't be further from the truth. While it does take a significant amount of time and effort to become fluent, having a conversation might not be as far off as you think. In this video, we'll look at 3 ways you can boost your conversational skills and start talking to native speakers. Number 1, find native speakers and practice with them. It's unlikely you live near a big group of native speakers to practice with. If you happen to be in a major or international city, your chances may be better. Check and see if your city has a general language exchange. Chances are there could be a native speaker there who is also trying to learn another language. Practicing in person with a native speaker is probably the most interesting option for honing your speaking skills. But if you can't find anyone where you live, the next best option is to look online. Luckily for language learners, the past 10 years or so have seen an explosion in online language exchange sites. On these websites, you can search for someone who is a native speaker of your target language and is also learning your native language. The idea behind a language exchange is that you communicate with them via video or text chat, and half of the time, they help you practice your target language. And for the other half, you help them practice theirs. Practicing via an online language exchange is a highly effective way to practice your conversational skills. Number 2, work on pronunciation. Pronunciation is often an overlooked skill when it comes to learning a foreign language. Most people think of a good foreign accent as a luxury rather than a necessity. But what most people don't talk about is how having a good accent boosts your listening and comprehension skills. If you can hear a sound from a foreign language and know how to make it yourself, then you're more likely to understand native speakers when they talk at normal speed, and you're also more likely to remember any new words or phrases you come across. Having a good accent means that the language no longer sounds foreign. Instead, it sounds familiar, maybe even natural. So how do you go about perfecting your accent? The best way is to break down the language into its individual sounds. Make note of any sounds that are the same or similar to your native language and of those that are different. Of the sounds that are different, spend your time practicing the ones that you find the hardest to say correctly. After you're comfortable with the individual sounds, you can start linking together words and phrases. This is where accent practice starts to get really fun and interesting. Get your hands on some native speaker audio from a TV show, song, or podcast. Play the audio back and listen closely a few times. Take note of how words blend together in speech. Then, do your best to imitate what you hear, trying to match the speaker's emphasis and intonation. Our language learning program's playback feature is perfect for this. Record yourself and compare it to the original recording. Rinse and repeat until you're comfortable with the audio selection, and then move on to something more difficult. This is how you can break through the accent barrier and really start to make the language your own. Number 3, learn phrases, not just individual words. Learning grammar and individual words is great, but it's not the only approach you should take if you want to speak fluently. In addition to your regular grammar and vocabulary, try learning whole phrases, even if you aren't totally sure how they work grammatically. Learn phrases that are specific to your needs. It's a good idea to learn phrases that are grouped around a certain setting or subject, such as simple greetings or introductions, questions for getting to know someone, or traveling comfortably. You can even learn filler phrases, which you can use so that you have something to say when, well, you don't know what to say. Learning phrases like this will help you become conversational faster. You may not understand what you're saying literally, but as long as you know the general meaning behind the phrase and know when to use it, you'll be able to talk like a native. Eventually, your knowledge of grammar and vocabulary should catch up with the phrases you know. Learning a new language should feel like an adventure. There will be plateaus and periods in your learning where it feels like you're hitting a wall, but being able to speak with native speakers and have real conversations will help you combat language fatigue. After all, talking to someone face-to-face in a foreign language is one of the main reasons we start learning in the first place. And for even more ways to gain conversation skills, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Привет всем! Hi everyone, and I'm Katusha. And today we're gonna talk about 10 lines you need for introducing yourself. Ta-da-dun-ta-dun! Let's begin! Меня зовут Катюша. My name is Katusha. Меня зовут. My name is. So when you meet someone for the first time, as we probably talked about it before, you say your name. We can practice. Hi, my name is Katusha. What's your name? Oh, nice to meet you. Мне лет. I am years old. Maybe you don't really want to discuss your age, but if somebody asks you, you should answer, for example, 18. Мне 18 лет. How old are you? Сколько тебе лет? I'm 102 years old. Мне 102 года. Be careful with Russian because, as you just noticed, I didn't say лет, but I said года. Years can differ from which numbers do you use. It depends on which age you say. So be careful. Tricky Russian, yay! Мне очень нравится слушать музыку. I like listening to music. So I enjoy or I like is мне нравится. And then you can say what you like. I enjoy playing computer. Мне нравится играть на компьютере. I like going out. Мне нравится ходить по клубам. I like shopping. Мне нравится ходить по магазинам. Or I like you. Ты мне нравишься. Одно из моих хобби – чтение. One of my hobbies is reading. Or you can say, my hobby is. Мое хобби – рисовать. My hobby is to draw. My hobby – икебана. Привет! Приятно познакомиться. Hi, nice to meet you.
Привет, я Катюша. Приятно познакомиться. So you should try saying, you say hello, привет, and then you say your name, and then nice to meet you. Приятно познакомиться. The friendly you will be ты, and the polite you will be вы. So when you want to emphasize on someone being friendly, and you just met, you say приятно с тобой познакомиться. Nice to meet you as friendly. And nice to meet you as polite will be приятно с вами познакомиться. Okay, so just a small little touch for you. Hope it's gonna be useful. Я из Москвы. I'm from Moscow. Я из Америки. I'm from America. Я из России. I am from Russia. Я изучаю русский в течение года. I've been learning Russian for a year. Я изучаю русский в течение года. Okay, how long have you been studying Russian, huh? I hope you're progressing with me. Я учитель. I'm a teacher. Я твой учитель. Or you can say a feminine way. Я твоя учительница. Я учительница. Я учу русский на RussianPod101.com. I'm learning Russian on RussianPod101.com. Yes, I said it. So you're proud. You just say, oh, I am learning Russian on RussianPod101.com. Of course. Чем ты занимаешься? What do you do? Чем ты занимаешься? Hi, what do you do? Привет, чем ты занимаешься? What do you do can mean what are you doing now, right now? Like you come back home and say, oh, what are you doing kind of thing. Or you can just say like you're asking someone what kind of job, work they're doing in their life. So it can be useful. Okay, so it was 10 lines. You'll need to introduce yourself. So I hope you liked it and please leave me your comments. Nice meeting you and don't forget to subscribe. Пока-пока. What are we doing today? Stick it to my skin. I feel like I'm in a sauna. In this video, you learned 20 of the most common words and phrases in Russian. Hi everybody, my name is Katya. Welcome to the 800 Core Russian Words and Phrases video series. This series will teach you the 800 most common words and phrases in Russian. But there is a twist. With each new lesson in this series, we'll include the previous lessons at the end. So after you've learned the new words and phrases, stick around and review what you've learned in previous lessons. Reviewing is one of the most important parts of learning a language. You can also get the full list right now at RussianPod101.com. Click the link in the description to access more example sentences, create your own flashcard deck, and finally master Russian. Okay, let's get started. First is собака, dog. Собака, собака. Dog. Моя собака потерялась. My dog got lost. Моя собака потерялась. Кот. Cat. Кот. Кот. Cat. Какой милый кот! What a cute cat! Какой милый кот! Хомяк. Hamster. Хомяк. Хомяк. Hamster. Хомяки любят спать днем. Hamsters like to sleep during the day. Хомяки любят спать днем. Тепло. Warm. Тепло. Тепло. Warm. Вам тепло? Are you warm? Вам тепло? Дождь. Rain. Дождь. Дождь. Rain. Дождь уже перестал. Пойдем. The rain has stopped already. Let's go. Дождь уже перестал. Пойдем. Помидор. Tomato. Помидор. Помидор. Tomato. Извините, вы бы не могли передать этот помидор? Excuse me, would you be so kind to pass the tomato to me? Извините, вы бы не могли передать этот помидор? Клубничный. Strawberry. Клубничный. Клубничный. Strawberry. Купи клубничный кекс, пожалуйста. Buy strawberry cake, please. Купи клубничный кекс, пожалуйста. Вишневый. Cherry. Вишневый. Вишневый. Cherry. У моей мамы есть фирменное блюдо – вишневый пирог. My mom has a specialty, a cherry pie. У моей мамы есть фирменное блюдо – вишневый пирог. Ребенок. Child. Ребенок. Ребенок. Child. Ребенок сидел у него на коленях. The child was sitting on his lap. Ребенок сидел у него на коленях. Друг. Friend. Друг. Друг. Friend. Друг – это тот, кто дает вам полную свободу быть самим собой. A friend is someone who gives you total freedom to be yourself. Друг – это тот, кто дает вам полную свободу быть самим собой. Взрослый. Adult. Взрослый. Взрослый. Adult. Ты уже взрослый и можешь сам принимать решения. You're already an adult and can make decisions by yourself. Ты уже взрослый и можешь сам принимать решения. Велосипед. Bicycle. Велосипед. Велосипед. Bicycle. Хочешь поехать на велосипеде или пойти пешком? Do you prefer to go by bicycle or on foot? Хочешь поехать на велосипеде или пойти пешком? Автомобиль. Car. Автомобиль. Автомобиль. Car. Эта шуба стоит как автомобиль. This fur coat costs as much as a car. Эта шуба стоит как автомобиль. Мотоцикл. Motorcycle. Мотоцикл. Мотоцикл. Motorcycle. Я не умею ездить на мотоцикле. I don't know how to ride a motorcycle. Я не умею ездить на мотоцикле. Самокат. Scooter. Самокат. Самокат. Scooter. Самокат удобен в городе. Scooters are convenient in the city. Самокат удобен в городе. Лодка. Boat. Лодка. Лодка. Boat. Лодка качалась на волнах. The boat was swinging on the waves. Лодка качалась на волнах. Медуза. Jellyfish. Медуза. Медуза. Jellyfish. У меня ядовитый ожог от медузы. I got a poisonous burn from a jellyfish. У меня ядовитый ожог от медузы. Омар. Lobster. Омар. Омар. Lobster. Омары очень дорогие. Lobsters are very expensive. Омары очень дорогие. Краб. Crab. Краб. Краб. Crab. Два краба идут по камню. The two crabs are walking on the rock. Два краба идут по камню. Черепаха. Turtle. Черепаха. Черепаха. Turtle. Морская черепаха плавает в море. The sea turtle is swimming in the sea. Морская черепаха плавает в море. Well done! In this lesson, you expanded your vocabulary and learned 20 new useful words. Click the link in the description and sign up for free at RussianPod101.com to get access to the full list of vocabulary you need for daily live conversations. You'll also get example sentences, custom flashcards decks, and more learning resources. See you next time! Пока-пока! До свидания!
Today we're going to talk about 4 techniques to help you stop translating in your head and instead start thinking in your target language. This will allow you to have conversations with ease, read smoothly, and better understand native speakers. These are 4 methods to help you think in a new language. Number 1, surround yourself with your target language. This way, you'll be completely immersed in the language. Without realizing it, you'll learn pronunciation, sentence structures, grammar, and new vocabulary. Play music in the background while you're cooking, or have a radio station on while you study. Just use one of our endless podcasts available to you. These are easy to listen to in the background while doing other things. Number 2, learn through observation. This is how we all learned our native languages as kids. Words will develop their own meanings that relate better to your target language, rather than meanings that are translated directly. Number 3, speak out loud to yourself. Even if you're a little embarrassed, it forces you to listen to how you speak. It makes it much easier to spot simple grammar mistakes. Number 4, practice daily. If you practice everything for only one day, you won't retain the information you learned. The brain can realistically only focus for about 30 minutes. So studying a little every day allows you to absorb better. Follow these steps and have patience. You'll soon be able to achieve your language learning goals. Just make sure to remember these 4 methods. Sign up for your free lifetime account. No credit card required, and you'll get the best free online resources. And start learning more every day. Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Russian ebook before it's gone.